Alright, so a few things before we get into this video. Number one, thanks again, Fluffy, for the thumbnail. If you guys haven't already, I would recommend going and checking out his channel. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. He is very good at Save the World, and he has some really great endgame content on his channel where he does like solo MSK challenges, and I'm sure he's going to have some solo Frostnite content when the season's here. So yeah, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can tell when he posts new videos. And number two, I know the title of this video is the best perks, but honestly, these are probably not the best perks. I don't even know if there is such a thing as, the best perks for Frostnite. This is just what I'm going to begin the season with, and you may have different perks than I do, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I'll probably end up making changes along the way as I test things out this season anyway, so if I do, I'll release a new video. But just, don't be so concerned with whether these are the absolute best perks or not. This is just a guide to help you, in case this is maybe your first season of Frostnite or whatever. And then number three, as with all content that I put on this channel, this is coming from a solo perspective. Like, if you can't tell from the videos that I post, I really enjoy soloing things. And I feel like if you can show that something works solo, then you've just inherently proven that it's going to work when you're in a group of 2, 3, or even 4 people, right? Because when you're solo in a mission alone, things are a lot less forgiving than when you're in a squad of 2, 3, or 4 people, right? So just know that when I show my loadouts or weapons and traps and perks that I'm recommending, it's coming from a solo perspective, okay? Alright, so let's go over these schematics. Why don't we go over the weapon schematics first, just because there's fewer of them than the traps, so it should be quick. Alright, so like I said in the previous video, the weapons that you're going to want to use are the Obliterator for your sniper defenders, and I have mine perked like this. Double crit damage, reload speed, energy, crit rating, and then headshot eliminations cause an explosion. The other 6 perks are pretty bad on the Obliterator, you'll see. And I have mine perked with double crit damage because I have a couple sniper defenders here with double crit rating, and I kind of want to take advantage of that by having double crit damage on my Obliterator. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. Okay, so that's my Obliterator. And then for the pot shot, I've got 2 schematics. One of them is perked like this. Crit damage, reload speed, water, crit rating, damage to miss monsters and bosses, and then the 6th perk is standing still, grants extra damage to miss monsters. And I know I've ripped on this 6th perk in the past, but in Frostnite, you can actually find times to stand still and trigger this perk, so it's probably better than Affliction when you're dealing with like power level 300 plus smashers. Your Affliction is really just going to be tickling them. So this is probably better than that. You want this perked as water because one of the hardest waves in Frostnite is wave 14, where you get swarmed by a bunch of fire smashers. So you're going to want your pot shot to be perked as water to do the most damage you can as possible, right? And then the other pot shot schematic that I have is perked like this. It's the same core perks: crit damage, reload speed, crit rating, damage to miss monsters and bosses. But I have it perked as nature because all the late waves in Frostnite, like 17, 18, 19, 20, those are all water waves. And so you're going to be getting water smashers, and you want to do the most amount of damage you can to them. So you want this perked as nature. And then the 6th perk here, it's just set to Affliction because this used to be my MSK potshot. But since I don't use it anymore for MSK, I've switched it over to nature, and I just haven't used a core reperk yet. I just want to test out this Affliction in Frostnite, and then I'll probably end up switching it to this other 6 perk for the extra damage to miss monsters. And then likewise, I've got 2 Jabberwocky schematics. Same, one's water, one's nature. The same core perks as the other. They have damage, crit rating, reload speed, crit damage. And then the 6th perk is that it snares them. The other 6 perks are really bad on the Jabberwocky, so this is just the least worst of them. And then for the Xenon bow, here, I have it perked like this, just a standard Xenon bow. Energy, reload speed, fire rate, crit damage, crit rating, affliction. Nothing special there. And I should mention, I will not be using any of these new weapons that are busted right now with like the busted slowing 6 perks. I'll wait until they're fixed before I decide on whether to use them or not. The 6 perk, not the 6 perk, the one that it slows them until it freezes them. It's bugged right now so that your traps will even trigger it. This one, the 6 perk. So yeah, if you end up using any of these weapons, it's going to actually disqualify you from any of the achievements, like Frostnite achievements on my Discord server. So yeah, don't use them until they're fixed, I would recommend. It's kind of cheesy. Alright, so for the melee weapons, like I've said in a few videos now, the Epic Baron schematic. So I will probably be using this one, which is armor and double movement speed. I might switch to this one, where it's single movement speed with double armor, depending on how sprinting and mantling and sliding work out. This is the first season that we'll have it. So if it seems like we don't need so much movement speed, because we also have Dire on our loadout, then maybe I'll use this one with double armor, single movement speed. But I'm going to start off using this one, the double movement speed, single armor. Yeah, I think that's it for melee weapons. So on to the traps. All right, so let's just start at the top and work our way down. So these are my broadsides. Physical, damage, reload speed, crit rating, crit damage, Dura. Ceiling drop traps. It's physical damage, crit rating, crit damage, reload speed, Dura. And I actually don't like using ceiling drop traps that much in Frostnite, if at all. It just lags it too much, and the last thing you want to do is crash out of like wave 19 or 20 during Frostnite. So yeah, I don't actually like using ceiling drop traps too much. Instead, I prefer electric fields. So energy, crit rating, crit damage, crit damage, Dura. And I like them to be like this with the double crit damage instead of a reload speed, just to hit as hard as possible. Likewise with my ceiling gas traps, I have it perked similarly. Physical, crit rating, crit damage, crit damage, effect duration. So I do also the double crit damage just to hit as hard as possible instead of having a reload speed. If you do have a reload speed, then you might want to have like a Dura perk down here, just because you're going to be going through the Dura faster with a faster reload. But I like mine to be heavy hitting, and then just effect duration. Heal pads, standard heal pads, all healing, heals attached. Wall darts, MM perked like this, physical, crit rating, crit damage, crit damage, Dura. I like it, again, hard hitting as possible with the double crit damage instead of the reload speed. Zapomaxes, energy, crit rating, reload, crit damage, Dura. So for these, I do have reload speed because otherwise they're very slow. Like even with the reload speed, it's an 8.5 second reload, right? If you look at these things, these other schematics that don't have a reload, theirs are like 6 second reload, but these like definitely need a reload speed on there. Okay, anti-airs, range reload, Dura, heals attached. Just your standard anti-air trap. Freeze trap, I've got triple impact, double reload, effect duration. I do not have any Dura perks on here because I have max trap Dura. If you don't have max trap Dura, you may have to give up like maybe an impact perk or something to put Dura on here. But I'm not, because I'm going in with max trap Dura. Floor launchers, I've got double impact, double reload, double Dura. You're not ever going to be launching smashers, so I feel like maybe you don't really need the triple impact, right? You're not launching smashers anyway, so. Retractable floor spikes. I've got it like this. Crit rating, double crit damage, damage dura, heavy hitting again. Sound walls, standard sound wall, triple dura, double reload, heals attached. Tar pits, standard tar pits, sort of fire damage, and all dura. Your goal with these are just to stick them. You don't really use these for the damage. Wall launchers. These are perked as triple impact, double reload dura. I do kind of want to bump smashers sometimes into kill rooms, so I do have the triple impact on these. Wall lights, I don't really use these, I don't think, in Frostnite at all, but anyways, mine are perked like this: triple impact, double reload, effect duration. Wall spikes, I've got 2 schematics of wall spikes. They're both the same perks except for the 6th perk. They are physical, crit rating, crit damage, damage, crit damage. This one is heals attached. This one is same except for increased building health. You cannot stack like double heals attached on a wall. So if I have a heals attached trap on the front, I will put a increased building health on the back. That's the reason for that. And then floor spikes. Physical, crit rating, crit damage, damage, crit damage, heals attached. And I think that's all of the perks or the traps that I would use for Frostnite. And then another suggestion is to favorite the traps that you're going to use the most in Frostnite. Like, if you're anything like me, you've got all these other schematics on here with different perks. But Frostnite, it's really hectic. You're going to want to be able to craft your traps quickly without having to scroll through your list of traps while you're, playing and defending. So make sure to favorite the ones that you're going to be using. Like, I'll probably end up unfavoriting this one. Just so they're at the top of your list of traps when you're crafting, and it'll make it easier as you're doing your Frostnite runs. All right, I think that's about it. And I guess I should also mention these are geared towards having a constructor loadout, right? Soloing as a constructor. If you're going to be soloing as a different class where you don't have a constructor, you might want to end up changing these last perks, like these Dura perks and stuff like that, for heals attached, since you're not going to have your base with power-based knocks to end up healing your builds. So I'll probably release a different video on that, like if you're going to be soloing it as like an Outlander or something like that. Okay, I think that's about it for this video. If you guys like this content and want to support the channel, please use code DIGI in the item shop. I would really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who has used it. And I will leave a link to my Discord in the description below, and also hopefully pin it in the top comment if I remember. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.